this is some pretty significant news, and we had to get this to you guys first.
Like, Kyrie actually has all the leverage when it comes down to the Mavericks.
You can maybe argue anywhere he goes, maybe a little chaotic.
What we do internally, we keep internal. And when we make these decisions, you will know.
When I got this news today, it completely altered our content strategy for the day, which is very significant because we had a very, very big topic to cover for you guys as well. So if everything goes well today, hopefully I could get you guys a double upload day. But obviously, this is some pretty significant news, and we had to get this to you guys first. So before we get to the content, tomorrow we're announcing 5 giveaway winners to split $1,000 between them. And all you have to do to enter is subscribe and turn on our notifications on this channel. I'll announce it in my video tomorrow. In the event you miss it, it will be on the community tab. And now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. The NFL and NBA season are officially over, and I need something to hold me over until at least the NFL season comes back. So I've been playing prize picks for the WNBA and the MLB, and I've been fairly successful. It's a good way to get some extra action on games that I wouldn't really watch otherwise. I post my picks onto my Instagram story daily, and I've been hitting on a decent amount of them. And right now, when you use my promo code microphone, they'll double your deposit up to $100. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? The Phoenix Suns have been a marvel to just watch ever since Matt Ishbia purchased this team. I mean, it's like you're watching a mad scientist just go to work. All of the assets that this team has ever accumulated officially gone, cashed in for established all-stars in hopes of bringing Phoenix a NBA championship. And man, I don't think I've ever seen a team be more aggressive than the Phoenix Suns. I mean, the moment Matt Ishbia purchased the Phoenix Suns, he swung a crazy trade for Kevin Durant and TJ Warren, where he sent 4 first-round picks and a pick swap to the Brooklyn Nets. In addition to this, he gave up Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I think this trade quite literally saved the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they were in such a bad situation at that point. I really thought they didn't have any leverage at all whatsoever in trading KD. I didn't even know KD was available at that point. But following that, the Phoenix Suns weren't done. After a brief trial run with Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, and Monty Williams, since they weren't able to win a championship almost instantaneously, well, Matt Ishbia decided to make his next big move, getting rid of Monty Williams. Or maybe it was Kevin Durant's decision. I'm not necessarily sure. I'm pretty sure this was more of a Matt Ishbia call. And if Matt Ishbia was going to leave, then obviously the writing was on the wall for Chris Paul. Eventually, the Phoenix Suns would decide to completely move on from Chris Paul. Originally, they wanted to release him, but fortunately, they were able to execute a trade with the Washington Wizards, where they quite literally stole Bradley Beal and a bunch of their young players in return for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, Bilal Coulibaly, who was the 7th overall pick via the Indiana Pacers, 4 first-round pick swaps, and 2 future second-round picks to further reconstruct their roster. Now, this means that the Phoenix Suns have Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton on their roster moving forward. And honestly, the addition of Jordan Goodwin and Isaiah Todd is fairly significant. These are 2 players that no one is talking about that could be very, very important moving forward. And the reason why nobody's talking about them is because, well, Jordan Goodwin has played in 2 seasons in the NBA, barely got any minutes at all whatsoever. The same could be said about Isaiah Todd. Played about 2 years in the NBA, barely got any minutes, barely did anything. These 2 might get a lot more minutes with the Phoenix Suns, given the fact that there isn't a lot of depth on this roster. I mean, they're probably going to bring back Terrence Ross, hopefully, if they could agree to a contract, and they're looking to also potentially work out Jabari Parker and Stanley Johnson. This should give you an idea of where the Phoenix Suns' heads are at in terms of roster construction. How are they going to add additional pieces around DeAndre Ayton, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal? Well, it's going to be a lot of these types of players. players. I'm a huge Jabari Parker fan, man. I just remember watching his highlights at Duke. He was so freaking good. I thought this man was going to be quite literally the Tim Duncan of small forwards once he enters the NBA. There were just so many ways that he could score. He had this awesome athletic ability that wasn't too uber athletic. He formed a really fun 1-2 punch with Giannis Antetokounmpo for about like 1 or 2 seasons when he was actually on the floor. But unfortunately, injuries would derail his career. He would sign a contract with the Bulls and then he'd become a journeyman in the NBA. And unfortunately, he kind of washed out of the NBA. And I'm always rooting for Jabari Parker to get back into the NBA, but I'm gonna be honest, you're not necessarily pursuing the cream of the crop in NBA free agency if you're trying to bring in Stanley Johnson and Jabari Parker as your role players. But there's another thing that is very interesting here. The Phoenix Suns might not even go into the season with DeAndre Ayton. You might be thinking,
Wait, Mike, what are you talking about? The Phoenix Suns are clearly moving forward with DeAndre Ayton. They only claim that they want to move on from him like maybe 3 times over the past few years.
it's not like the Phoenix Suns hesitated when it came time to max out DeAndre Ayton once he was eligible for a rookie max contract extension. It's not like their backs were against the wall when the Indiana Pacers offered DeAndre Ayton a max contract offer last season. It's not like DeAndre Ayton looked like he was depressed to be back with the Phoenix Suns this past year during NBA Media Day.
Congratulations on obviously getting the deal. And maybe what was your initial reaction once the Suns matched the Pacers offer?
I was happy. It was all done, I guess.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
It's not like the Phoenix Suns moved on from Monty Williams because Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton just didn't get along. It would make no sense. How the hell would they possibly plan to move on from DeAndre Ayton? As a matter of fact, Chris B. Haynes said himself 5 days ago, the Phoenix Suns are moving forward with the plan of keeping DeAndre Ayton to play alongside Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal. League sources tell NBA on TNT and Bleacher Report. The Suns believe Ayton's value to the franchise is at an all-time high. With the additions of Beal and Durant, Phoenix wants to see them play together. Yeah, it's not like I don't think that this is the truth. I think a lot has gone on over the past 5 days that may have changed the Phoenix Suns' stance on this. And this is where the Kyrie Irving aspect of this situation comes in. I'm gonna be honest, I am terrible when it comes to Kyrie Irving analysis because I honestly don't know what he wants at this stage of his career. Historically, if you just look at Kyrie Irving's career, any situation that a player would possibly ever want was given a Kyrie Irving. You want to be drafted #1 overall to a rebuilding team and potentially save them? You had the opportunity to do that. You want to team up with the greatest player of all time or the second greatest player of all time and bring a championship to a city that has been devoid of a championship for decades? Well, he did that. You want to leave said franchise to really get an opportunity, have a team built around you with an infusion of very talented young players in a city that quite literally lives, breathes, and eats sports? Well, he had the opportunity to do that. At that point, Kyrie may have decided that, hey, that's not what I wanted. I want to be close to home and be close to family. So he signed with the Brooklyn Nets with his best friend. When things didn't work out with the Brooklyn Nets and he wanted to be traded to a team that would support him and appreciate him for who he is, he got traded to the Mavericks. And the thing that makes it a little bit more difficult in regards to trying to figure Kyrie Irving out is throughout all the teams that he's been on, he's committed to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
My name is Nick. Are you going to leave us like LeBron left us?
It's a great question. No, I won't leave. I'm not leaving.
He's committed to the Boston Celtics.
You guys will have me back. I plan on re-signing here next year.
And he even committed to the Brooklyn Nets, but it was more of a commitment to Kevin Durant at that point. And that's before I bring up the interesting interviews.
In my past life, like I said, I was you. I was you. What you are now, that's what I'm up here.
And very interesting off-the-court situations. Now, Kyrie Irving has entered free agency. Last offseason, he was in a very unique situation. He wanted to opt out, but there was not really a team that was in the market for his services. Not that Kyrie Irving isn't good, just there wasn't really a team that was a contender that could offer him a max contract. So he decided to opt in, and he got traded to the Mavericks this past season. Now he's in a different situation. Once again, it doesn't seem like there are many teams that could be suitors for Kyrie Kyrie Irving, the market for him is relatively dry outside of the Dallas Mavericks. And we're hearing multiple reports about Kyrie. So there's a few options on the table. Originally, the Lakers tried to explore a sign-and trade for Kyrie Irving, giving up D'Angelo Russell, but the Mavericks weren't interested in that. And Rob Pelinka has already said that he plans on moving forward with the young core that the Lakers have. We covered this in our video yesterday. So outside of the Mavericks, there's only one other team that would be interested in Kyrie Irving's services. And I think we could tell who's influencing this. Because according to Chris B. Haynes, Kyrie Irving is planning on meeting with the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Mavericks when free agency starts on June 30th. Now, bear in mind, the whole excerpt, to not take anything out of context, is star point guard Kyrie Irving is expected to meet with the Phoenix Suns along with the Dallas Mavericks and possibly other teams when NBA free agency begins on June 30th, league sources tell TNT and Bleacher Report. The Houston Rockets could seek a meeting as well, according to sources. The Suns are still being ultra aggressive in trying to assemble top talent to play alongside their three stars in Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. New Suns governor Matt Ishbia and general manager James Jones are working tirelessly to construct a legitimate championship team. So this is where it gets really interesting. How would the salary cap gymnastics work here? It would be tough for the Phoenix Suns to add Irving due to the NBA's collective bargaining agreement. If they acquired him via sign and trade, they would be hard capped at the very first salary cap apron, which is currently projected to be $172 million. They also aren't expected to have access to the $12.4 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception or the $5 million taxpayer mid-level exception at this moment. The only sign and trade that could work in this particular instance is DeAndre Ayton being traded to the Dallas Mavericks for a package around Kyrie Irving. And then even then, Kyrie Irving would have to take a bit of a pay cut. So the Mavericks are still considered the favorites to re-sign Irving. They would ideally like to get a commitment from him in early free agency so he could assist in recruiting other free agents. Irving is eligible for a 5-year, $272 million max contract. Ironically, Kyrie also said that he is looking for his next home so he could play out the remainder of his career on this particular team. I wonder why. This is kind of code word for I want money, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is his final big payday. I don't blame him for wanting to find a place where he could call it home. So let's break this down, okay? If the Phoenix Suns pursued this, I would think that they're absolutely out of their mind. And it's nothing against Kyrie Irving. I would feel the same exact way if Anthony Davis decided to join a brand new team and was trying to reunite with Russell Westbrook. It's kind of like the definition of insanity is repeating the same exact thing again and expecting a different result.
That is crazy. The first time somebody told me that, I don't know, I thought they were bullshitting me, so boom, I shot him. The thing is, okay, he was right.
And in the case of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, they claim that the reason why Brooklyn didn't go so well for them was because they weren't on the same page with Sean Marks and Joe Tsai. But if you're the Phoenix Suns, I don't know if you could feel comfortable making a decision like this. Trading away DeAndre Ayton and bringing in Kyrie Irving. And by the way, rumors already suggest that the Suns already tried to trade DeAndre Ayton to the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Stein reported this on Tuesday, saying that there was a deal in place that would have sent DeAndre Ayton to Dallas in exchange for Tim Hardaway Jr., Rashawn Holmes, and JaVale McGee. The reason why it fell through was because the Suns weren't interested in taking on JaVale McGee, and the deal fell apart. Furthermore, DeAndre Ayton's kind of like their final trade chip at this point, so I wouldn't necessarily blame the Suns for trying to stand pat and hold on to him as long as possible. However, I will admit, I do think DeAndre Ayton needs a change of scenery. I do think the Phoenix Suns is not the right spot for him for the remainder of his career. Nothing against the Suns, it's just the moment DeAndre Ayton was drafted, this wasn't a team that was 100% dedicated on the development of DeAndre Ayton. They were more focused on trying to compete for championships because their championship window was literally thrown open within the first 2 years of DeAndre Ayton's career. And then once they went undefeated in the bubble, they traded for Chris Paul. Next thing you know, they're contenders in the West and they made it to the NBA Finals. So DeAndre Ayton was expected to develop very quick and he wasn't able to respond to that kind of pressure. I feel like being traded to the Dallas Mavericks, a team that is just consistently searching for the ideal running mate to Luka Doncic, would give him a situation where he could develop some chemistry with Luka, but also really focus on developing his craft. Maybe become a little bit more dependable on the defensive end. Maybe extend his range to the perimeter offensively. So I'm a huge fan of any trade like this for the Dallas Mavericks, especially considering the fact that the Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic era, at least in the small sample size that we've seen, didn't yield the best results. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Do you think the Phoenix Suns should keep DeAndre Ayton, or do you think they should trade him to the Mavericks for Kyrie Irving and reunite Kevin Durant with Kyrie Irving? Speaking of which, I wonder who is pushing the Phoenix Suns to try to bring in Kyrie Irving. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.